Here we go.
Thank you, Jesse. We welcome everybody to the Unity Radiant Light Sunday service on March 20th, 2022. I'm calling the title of my talk, The Power of Willingness. I am your service officiant, Kathleen Kerswig, licensed Unity teacher. Joe Antao did our opening prayer. He's also an LUT, and Jesse is handling all of the IT, and we appreciate that greatly. And so I want to talk to you today about the power of willingness. And I kind of made this its own separate little power. There is the power of will, right, which is one of our 12 powers. But what I want to speak to you today about is specifically about our willingness to do things, our willingness to step out and take action, our willingness to do whatever it is that is ours to do. As many of you know, we're in the middle of Lent, right? We're in the middle of the season of Lent. And what is that but 40 days of preparation, preparing for the resurrection of Jesus? Now, in Unity, we don't take things quite as literally as the other traditional churches do. So what we're looking at is a preparation time for ourselves in preparing for our own resurrection, our rebirth of that Christ presence coming up and being resurrected within us so that we can even do bigger and better things, greater things, right? Being there for our human family, that kind of thing. It's a time of preparation. In fact, in the, let's see, I don't know how many of you have seen this. This is the Lenten book for this year, 2022. It's called Release and Renew, a Spiritual Practice for Lent. We get this from Unity World Headquarters, and it's a booklet that goes out every month to take us through the 40 days of Lent, right? And inside there, it says that Lent is a season of spiritual growth, a time for progressive unfoldment. So as I go through today's talk, think about what's unfolding inside of you, what's going, because it really is all about you. I know that sometimes people say, no, it's not all about you, it's all about me. Well, it's all about all of us, right? So I wanted to look specifically at the power of willingness, which can serve as a catalyst for our own spiritual growth and evolution. At least that's what I think. That's what I've noticed in my own life, is that the more willing I am to take spiritual principles and put them into action, the better the results are. Sometimes the results aren't exactly what I'm looking for, but I promise you that they end up being better than what I expected. Right? Sometimes there's lessons in between that make them feel like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted. But in the end, my willingness gets me to where I want to go, and it gets me even beyond that. So here's my question. How willing are you? I mean, really, how willing are you? Right? It's one thing to read about spiritual principles, and I think it's another thing to actually be willing to follow them through. For instance, the principle that we are all connected, right? We are all one, unity. That's what unity stands for, oneness. We're all connected. Until someone does something that I don't like, then do I really believe in oneness? Am I willing to stick with that belief? Or do I make exceptions in my own mind about, well, but maybe not that person, or maybe not that group? When in fact, I need to be willing to apply spiritual principles to everybody or to nobody. There are no exceptions in these spiritual laws that we are living by, spiritual principles that we're trying to live up to, those kinds of things, right? It's tricky, isn't it? It's not easy to sit there and go, yes, I'm willing 100% of the time. I know I can't do it 100% of the time, but I can always bring myself back and think about it again. Ask myself the question, Kathleen, how willing are you really? Okay. So the theme in the booklet is release and renew. What am I willing to give up? And what am I willing to reinforce and to renew in my life? And there's different questions or different affirmations, I should say. Denials and affirmations are a big part of unity in our prayer practice. And it's talking about what we're willing to eliminate and what we're willing to have more of. So I thought it might be fun to kind of go through the questions that are going to come up this week, right, in the Lenten booklet. Here's the first one. Am I willing to release the belief in limitation? Am I willing to release the belief in limitation? Well, what do I mean by that? How many times have you found yourself saying, oh, I'd like to do this, but I can't afford it? Or I'd really like to do this, but I don't have the time, right? But if there's something I really want to do, and I can only speak for myself, but if there's something I really want to do, I'm probably going to find the time to do it. Yeah, I see a couple heads nodding. So I'm thinking I'm onto something here a little bit, right?
Yes.
Lack, a consciousness of lack, a consciousness of limitation holds us back, right? If we are one with God, with the creator of all that is, if we are one with source, whatever you choose to call God, that spirit, divine mind within us, we are one with that, then there is no limitation because we have access to an unlimited amount of divine ideas. And then we have access to do whatever it is we want with those divine ideas and make them our own and see how they come out and try and experiment and do other things and try it again because there's an unlimited amount, right? So we're not talking about how much money do I have in the checking account? Or we're not talking about, well, what's my title at work? We're talking about something much bigger that makes a fuller life experience, whether I'm a Walmart greeter or a lawyer or a stockbroker on Wall Street, it doesn't matter what my title is. So if I'm willing to let go of this idea of limitation, then look out, world, here I come. What's another thing that we could release? How about releasing the fear of not having enough? Right? You know, we've all gone through stretches in our lives, I'm sure, where we've had more than other times. Yes, would you agree with that? Sometimes, okay? But yet we've always had enough for that particular moment. And the reason I know that is because we're all together here today. So if there was a point in our lives where we didn't have enough, we wouldn't have made it. We wouldn't be here now. So we have been able to get through. And honestly, when I look back on my life and I think back to where I was a few years ago, I really didn't have a lot and it really felt like a struggle. But I survived each day. I made the best decisions I could in the moment with the information I had, and I kept moving forward. So maybe I have always had enough. And what would your life look like if you didn't have this fear of not having enough? You already have enough, and you're going to gather more. Again, it's about gathering ideas that are going to lead me to doing things that are going to give me great, rich connections, rich experiences with people, which just amps up my spiritual life. Spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe, governed by spiritual laws, having a human experience. That's what my mentor taught. Reverend Jim Rosemurgy taught that. It's not just about I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. It's about the whole package. It's about the whole package. How about this one? Oh, you're going to like this one. Are you willing to release drama and conflict? Boy, I would like to. And yet, when it shows up sometimes for me, whether it's family or at work, I tend to kind of jump in there once in a while and participate myself, right? I think we all have. But what I've learned to do is to stop blaming myself and to stop worrying about what I did wrong and try to do better, right? I would like to release drama and conflict as much as possible. As much as possible. I would like to get rid of all of that. Now, I can't control other people's behaviors, and I know you can't either, right? But we can control how we respond to it. And so when I am being invited to more drama, more conflict, there's lots of ways that I can disengage from that. And there are lots of ways that I can do that in a loving and kind way. I don't have to necessarily be an angry person and storm away, because that's really adding to the conflict. So am I willing to release drama and conflict? I think I am. Check in with me next week when I'm back at work and more drama shows up, and I'll let you know how I reacted. I'll let you know what went on with this. All right, let's talk about some positive things. Let's talk about renewing. How about renewing our sense of possibility, right? If I have released my belief in limitation, then I suddenly can renew that sense of possibility. Anything can happen, my friends, and it can be good. It can be good stuff. Usually my projector in my mind goes towards, what if this fails? What if this goes wrong? And it doesn't have to. What if this goes right? What if what I'm looking for is right there and I find it and I get it, right? So I can pair these up and I can let go of that belief in limitation, and I can renew my sense of possibility, and I can already feel my heart happier than ever, right? My heart is happy when I think about those possibilities. Instead of fearing not having enough, how about if I renew my awareness of the abundance in my life? This is a great reminder for me. It may be for some of you too. Abundance is not about dollar signs. Some of it may be, but it's not. It's about the friends in our life. It's about the what we're doing with our lives, the purposes that we all have, our purpose in life, what it is for each of us as individuals, right? There is so much abundance everywhere. And when I remember that, I let go of the fear of thinking, oh, I might not have enough. And I start to think I have plenty. I have all that I need in this moment. I use that phrase, in this moment, because it helps. In this moment. And then all of a sudden, again, my spirit feels like it's rising. Right? I'm feeling better about life. I feel better. We're in tough times right now. We are in very difficult times that are appearing outside of us that cannot affect what's going on inside of us unless we let it. So we release that. We start to feel the good because we've got that divine source within us, right? And finally, when we release drama or conflict, we can renew our inner peace in spirit. Now, that's what the book says. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it a little differently. We can renew our awareness of our inner peace of spirit. I don't think that we need to try and increase that inner spirit. I think it's already there, as strong as it can ever be. I think my awareness of it is what needs to increase. But that's just my interpretation of it. It's kind of like the idea of, can I get closer to God? No. In all honesty, I don't believe we can. I think all of us here and everyone everywhere is already as close to God as it can possibly get. I think that the challenge is the awareness level. If I believe that I'm not close to God at all, then I'm not going to feel close to God. But that doesn't mean that the connection is any weaker than anybody else's. I think the connection is as strong as ever. And it's the same for everyone. There are no favorites in this universe. It's kind of tricky to think like that, and it's challenging, and I'm telling you, I'm not there every day, but I'm getting there. But it's my awareness that is the key. Okay. I just threw a lot of stuff out at you. A lot. But whatever rang a bell for you, I'm going to invite you to commit to exploring this idea of releasing what needs to be released and renewing what needs to be renewed in you. You've already got what you need to do it. You've already got what you need to do it. Don't forget that. Am I willing? You know, there was a point in my life where I wasn't willing to do the work that was mine to do. Let me put it that way. And I had a dear friend of mine who kept telling me, if you just do this, things are going to get better. And I wasn't willing to do it. And so she said to me, you know what you need to do? You need to pray for the willingness to be willing. And I thought that was the stupidest thing I had ever heard, to be very honest with you. And yet it made perfect sense. I didn't feel like I had the willingness. And so that's what I did. I asked God for help to be willing to be willing. And it helped and it worked. And I got willing and I started doing that work. That was about 20 years ago. And I can't believe I'm sitting here in front of you today. And I'm about to enter into a very, very important week in my life. This coming week, starting tomorrow, I am going to be going through what's called progress interviews in ministerial school. And by next Saturday, I'm going to get the word as to whether or not I'm cleared for ordination in June. And as exciting as that is, it's a little terrifying all at the same time, right? So my question this week is, am I willing to let go of the fear? And am I willing to shine? And I'm going to say to you, yes, I am. And I'm going to invite you to take those questions. What are you willing to release? What are you willing to renew? And see where you can shine. There's one quote I want to share with you from the Lenten booklet. It says, guidance only matters if we are willing to trust it and go where it leads us. I think we're all willing to go where it leads us. Yes? And so it is. Amen. Namaste, my friends. Let's take some of these ideas now into meditation. As you can see on the screen, there's an affirmation. I'm going to invite you to join me in saying it together. Together, I am open and receptive to the spirit of truth, healing what needs to be healed and revealing what needs to be revealed. And so it is. Amen. And now I invite you to just get comfortable in your seat and just start by taking a couple of deep breaths just to center yourself and just relax into the present moment. Love the feeling of just breathing slowly and deeply and feeling the air enter my lungs and travel down into my heart space. Just breathe deeply as you ponder your willingness. May the words that I speak now be the words of your own heart. I am in a season of spiritual growth. And I am willing to watch in eager anticipation my progressive unfoldment. I am willing. I am willing. I release any beliefs I might be holding on to in limitation. And I renew my strong sense of possibility. I give no more power to the fear of not having enough. Instead, I am acutely aware of the abundance in my life. I no longer participate in drama or conflict. I give no power to that energy. Instead, I focus on the power of the inner peace I have within. That inner peace that I can call forth at any time. I breathe into the moment. And I take these words into the silence. Take a deep breath now. And I release it fully, slowly, completely. And I affirm that I am willing to trust my inner guidance. I am willing to go where it leads me, knowing that all of it, absolutely all of it, is for the highest good. And so it is. Amen. Now, before you open your eyes, I just invite you to take a couple of more deep, long, full breaths. Come back to this place and time. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes.